Hello, internet friends. My name is Bay, and welcome to the Battle for Azeroth beta and the first pass look at the Subtlety Rogue. Easily my least understood and least favorite rogue spec. However, after testing for about 3 hours just before I recorded this, I do understand a bit of what it's supposed to do better. And many of you that out there that play sub rogue have been playing the very same spec for a very long time based on how your artifact and your legendaries have sort of put that all together. So that hopefully changes slightly, just slightly, because obviously the artifact's gone, legendaries are gone, that kind of stuff. However, the overall core rotation that you are used to, that you play around with, the sort of teeter-totter of very, very slow, methodical, sort of waiting around your auto attacks, then you're really fast, your movements, your moments of time, rather, sorry, in the Shadow Dance window, very much still there. Not very overall changed as a spec, but of course we'll go over everything in this video, and if you want to walk through the entire testing we did, the entire VOD will be uploaded right here to the YouTube channel, or you can of course check it out over on Twitch. Link is in the description box for my Twitch live stream where we do all the testing if you want to be a part of that, or you can subscribe right here on the YouTube channel, and yes, and be up to date on all the first pass, second pass testing we have left to go with, and all the other craziness we have in the rest of this before the game actually launches. And I appreciate all the ones that are hitting that red button recently. So, Sub Rogue, sitting down with my Warple Tingers. Let's go through the basics. I have some notes. We're gonna go through all that stuff, and then we'll just do some gameplay. There isn't a whole lot to go into, and because I'm not gonna like sit here and try to min-max the rotation on screen with you here, because I'm gonna mess it up because I don't play Rogue. I'm just here to sort of elaborate on what we found out during the testing and just show you what has changed, and then you can of course be better at this spec than I am. So Shuriken combo. The damage per stack on the follow-up eviscerates has been reduced to 5%, down from 10. This is not really a nerf because it's just part of the game squish, most likely. Obviously, when you're doing the AoE wombo combo-y nature of the sub-rogue, you're normally just spamming Shuriken Storm within dance windows and putting up Nightblades to stack the in-damage window, because of, if you go back to the Shuriken Storm, of course, it still has the damage done while in Shadow Dance. So you're mostly just putting up the 15% damage amp from Nightblade, and then you're getting the 50% damage amp from being in Shadow Dance, so this really doesn't matter as much. It's for damage funneling on pure single target kind of things, but again, that's just part of the balancing of the game. The Shadow Technique has the baseline Shadow's Whisper trait from your artifact rolled into the baseline, so when you get those auto attacks that proc to give you the extra combo point, you get 8 energy on top of that. And I was told this tooltip is terrible. So it takes 5 auto attacks to gain 1 combo point at the max level. It's a 20% chance per auto attack that lands stacking. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. And then whenever it actually gives you the combo point, it resets back down to 0, right? On the next auto attack. So it's still like 3-ish auto attacks on average gives you a combo point. Weak auras that track this, so you're sort of playing around the Shadow Technique window. Like I said before, it's still very much there. The Nightblade Dot now scales with haste. All rogue bleeds, dots, and poisons all scale with haste now. This doesn't really make haste an attractive stat for Subtlety Rogue because you don't need it. But it won't make it as dead of a stat, I guess. The Nightblade snare reduction was snare amount was reduced to 20% from 50%. That's a big change. But that's all just in these CC changes, of course, across the game. And then Fate, this is a big one. So Fate had its cooldown added to 15 seconds. So it has no cooldown on live right now. You just kind of spam it and spin around in circles. But if you didn't know that Fate was going to get nerfed, then we're playing a different game because this was going to get nerfed. Cloak of Shadows is also nerfed to a 2-minute cooldown, up from 90 seconds, which started off as a minute in Legion, added on 30 seconds, added on 30 more seconds now. So the utility toolkit of the Rogue is still ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, this is a bit of a hit. But again, you've been the kings of never dying to anything in World of Warcraft. So obviously now you have to time your feints better, and you get a little bit less uptime on your Cloak of Shadows. But that's the base kit. Everything else you see here is the same. Relentless Strikes remains the same. Your mastery is still Executioner, so it still increases the damage of your finishing moves by a whole lot. Fleet-footed is here. You have that passive movement speed and the reduced damage from falling. This is the baseline fleet-footed reduction. You don't actually have the no fall damage anymore from your artifact. That's obviously gone because your artifacts are gone. Deepening Shadows is still very much here at the 1.5 seconds per combo point spent on your finishing moves. Reduces the remaining cooldown of your Shadow Dance. But Vanish, Tricks of the Trade, is all the same stuff. Sprint still gives you run over water if you're sub because you're a ninja. That's what I was told. Shuriken Toss is still here. Give me one of our Shuriken Storm. Still has the same. It says awards 0 combo points per target hit. It's 1. It's just someone messed up something in the back end. Shroud of Concealment has an interesting buff. If you haven't watched the other Rogue video yet before this one, but it's 30 yards now. But whenever I show this off on stream, at least the first time I did with Outlaw Rogue, the immediate reaction was that someone's still going to walk out of it. So, 30 yards, that's Rogue utility, I guess. You know, that's what, honestly, that's Rogue utility in a way. You can stealth your entire frackin' raid group now. So that's Shroud. Shadow Strike still the same. Still has the jump to the target. Shadow Strike is only if you're in real stealth. Is there a critter around here somewhere that I can viciously destroy? Right there, that's Spider though. So you still have the actual, that still works. So the Shadow Step on Shadow Strike is in real stealth, not in Shadow Dance stealth, which it used to be that way before the rework to Sub Rogue during Legion, because that sounds awful. I'm so glad they fixed that for you. That sounds not fun at all. But the opening Shadow Strike still does the additional damage. Shadow Step, still the same cooldown, still a little micro sprint afterwards. Shadow Dance, if you were scared for some reason, Shadow Dance is still off of the GCD. I have Night Stalker right now, so don't worry about the extra tooltip. Again, a lot of your talents have not changed. We'll go over those all in a minute. But Shadow Dance remains the same. Shadow Blades remains the same, so the whole armor ignore mechanic during that is still definitely there. But Sap, Pickpocket, Picklock, Nightblade, we went over that already again. Kidney Shot, still there. Kick, again, Feint. Evasion, still 100% dodge for 10 seconds. There we go with that one. Crimson Vial is on the GCD now and still costs 30 energy, so a little bit of a nerf to that. Slightly. I mean, you're a rogue. You have a 1 second global cooldown anyway. It's not a huge detriment. So Cheap Shot, still the same. Blind. Backstab still has the additional damage when you're behind the target. 1 combo point. All that stuff is all good. So, talent-wise, I'm just going to go over the changed talents, and then we'll kind of walk through a couple of builds, and then, of course, you can infer all the changes yourself. There are some nice little changes here. As you notice there, you still have a coming soon talent. If I had to guesstimate, it's going to be a talent that revolves around a rotational oriented ability, either your Symbols of Death or Eviscerate. We will see, because Death from Above still remains here as the rotational, like, cooldown spender. And then Master of Shadows still remains here as the going into stealth. Vanish Shadow Dance gives you the energy over 3 seconds. That's still the same. So we'll see what this goes to. On live right now, you have Mark for Death, but Mark for Death, as you see, has been moved. You lost Anticipation. You lost Tangled Shadows. You lost Master of Subtlety. Those are the ones you've been removed. You were given back Find Weakness. So we did a lot of math on this, or I did a lot of napkin math when I was figuring out Find Weakness because it's kind of confusing. Shadow Strike and Cheap Shot reveal a flaw in your target's defenses, causing all of your attacks to bypass 40% of that enemy's armor for 10 seconds. So it just puts a debuff on the target, like right here. Whoop. Also, that's Prey on the Weak. More on that later. So this is the Find Weakness. You used to have Find Weakness baseline for sub. It was removed going into Legion. So this is not a 40% damage amp. This is a 40% armor ignore or armor penetration. So on normal mobs, on most mobs, your level, regular dungeon mobs, it'll give you roughly a 9 to 10% DPS increase when the debuff is on there. And when it's on a boss dummy, a boss target, they have 35% armor. That gives you roughly a 14% DPS increase on those targets. Because again, it ignores 40% of the 35% of their armor that they normally have, taking off 14 of it, so then you gain a 14% damage amp. That's what that means. Gloomblade remains the same. It's still the bypassing armor backstab. So you deal shadow damage in your backstab. It's the easy option. It's easy. And we'll more on this in a build later on. But that is still very much there. I'm leaving a bit of a teaser here. I probably should get to it. Weapon Master is really nice. This is not the teaser. Weapon Master on live right now is the whole 6% chance when you hit the target, your abilities have a 6% chance when you hit a target to strike twice. That's obviously very powerful because getting double hit death from aboves is huge. That is gone. Weapon Master now is that Shadow Strike and Backstab have a 15% chance to hit the target twice whenever they deal damage. This does mean that you gain the double combo points if it does proc. If I can get it to proc in the video, which of course never will. There we go. That was 2 combo points on 1 backstab there. Additionally, I will show you off what I was... This is the teaser. Symbols of Death is on the global. So, that's the weirdest change to Sub Rogue from all the feedback we had today on stream. Is that Symbols of Death being on the GCD is quite weird. But it makes sense... because pooling your energy properly and then refunding it to yourself is sort of the whole point of that ability. Let's see if I can get a Shadow Strike proc here. Probably not. Of course, why would I get one? Of course not. Why would I? So, we'll give it a little moment here. This does mean, and it is in the VOD, it happens to me a couple of times, that under the effect of Shadow Blades, because you gain the extra combo points across the board, you can... Because we're be real here. You're going to expect deeper stratagem. Let me just take off Mark for Death. I'm making fun of people. I mean, it's a 30-second cooldown Mark for Death if you are sub for some reason, but just take deeper stratagem. It's just so good, right? So you can very, very, very easily... Let's see if it can happen right now. No. Well, there's obviously 3 and 3. It's supposed to happen. Damn it. Arr, 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 arr. Never when I'm recording. And I could sit here for like however long and B-roll record and put that in, but that's editing. You can get a Shadow Strike during Shadow Blades that double procs and gives you 6 combo points in 1 global. And it feels wonderful. It feels so good. So not only can you couple that with everything else that you can do during Shadow Dance, but it feels really cool. Let me see. Let me just put this up. Do one of these. Give me a... that was just an auto attack proc. Damn. Of course not. So the tier up here now with Find Weakness, Gloomblade, and Weapon Master, these sort of fit into the roles that the rest of your build will play. By and large, Gloomblade is just easy. The easier one. That's my stupid undead passive procking. Find Weakness, however, fits right in to the Death from Above playstyle. And Weapon Master is a rotational adjustment that makes the rotation quite faster if you get the procs, right? On average, of course, over the course of a fight. I said that right? I think so. You will obviously gain less globals towards building because you will proc extra combo points overall. Now, of course, depending on how your Shadow Technique lines up, if you're getting a lot of like 20 or 40% auto attack procs and get a ton of combo points, again, no anticipation, you may burn some combo points, which is definitely a possibility. You're not supposed to want to do that, but you might, because if they're free, then you didn't lose anything to begin with. But that is definitely a possibility there with Weapon Master. Come on. Damn it. Of course not. But it is pretty nice. Because these Gloomblade is simple, Weapon Master quickens the rotation. Night Stalker, Subterfuge, and Shadow Focus are all unchanged. Cheat Death, Elusiveness, and Soothing Darkness are all also unchanged. Soothing Darkness is going to be really great for islands and warfronts when you can self-sustain yourself, when you don't have a healer around, right? Elusiveness, still very strong, but again, 15-second cooldown on your feint. And then Cheat Death for those abilities that could one-shot you and you can cheese them. Thank you, Rogues, for cheesing mechanics since forever. Prey on the Weak, you saw that right there. Prey on the Weak has a nice quality of life improvement that enemies disabled by your cheap shot or kidney shot, the keyword there is disabled, will take 10% increased damage from all sources for 6 seconds, not just the rogue. And the amount of time that the Prey on the Weak debuff lasts is always 6 seconds, regardless of the stun duration. And you can go right back and forth to it. You can go 1-to-1. You can put up 12 seconds of this back to back on targets that actually can be stunned, which is really nice. Locking down mobs, obviously a PvP synergy there, but locking down mobs that can be stunned in the PvE game space, in dungeons and islands and warfronts and raids, if a raid boss has stunnable mobs. Very, very powerful here. Strike from the Shadows is still the Shadow Strike stun in the 5-second player daze. And then Shot in the Dark is new. This is that after entering Stealth or Shadow Dance, your next cheap shot is free. Which, I don't know, because cheap shot has a cooldown. Or no cooldown, but you only can do it while you're in stealth. So the whole cooldown thing is that you're obviously you have stealth cooldowns, but Shot in the Dark is interesting because you could spam. Let me see what we do here. You can kind of spam stun people. Move this over here real quick to get on a better button because I have too many buttons right now. There we go. You can do stuff like this. Right? Like, that's kind of neat because it helps you because you can just spam the ability and then you get 3 extra seconds of doing it afterwards or whatever, right? But, like, I don't know if you need energy for that. It just means that you're not wasting as much energy doing that Shot in the Dark, but it's just kind of, rogue stuff. I don't know. Dark Shadow is still very much here. While Shadow Dance is active, all damage you deal is increased by 25%. Alacrity is here. It's been changed, buffed, and nerfed. So it's a 3% haste stack per stack, only up to 5 times, versus the live version, which is 2% haste per stack, 10 stacks. But again, haste for sub-rogue. Enveloping Shadows is still really nice. So Deepening Shadows will reduce the remaining cooldown of Shadow Dance by an additional 1 second, and you gain 1 extra charge of Dance. So 2.5 seconds per combo point, again running DS of course, and then the extra actual dance you have here. So really quick off the bat, I'm going to show the fast build. So the fast build, we'll just take Weapon Master and Shadow Focus, Master of Shadows, Enveloping Shadows. This build exists on live, it's just nowhere near as good as the multiplicative build, but we don't know how it's going to be because of balancing. It may change. So again, I'm not trying to like min-max here and like finagle. I'm just gonna hit buttons and show you like how fast the build can go. But overall, let's do this, do that, do one of these, do one of those. If you get lucky with the procs, mostly from Weapon Master, it's all about just lowering the cooldown of Shadow Dance and just being in dance as often as possible. Let's go here into that for this, and then one of those, and one of these. And then we'll wait for the auto attack to refresh. There it is. Go back in. And one more of those. That was weird. Like, it missed, but it still landed. Whatever. Go back in. One of these. One of these. One of that. I should have Symbols of Death there again, but again, I'm not trying to min-max this. See, we'll burn a combo point to put a 5 stack back up. We'll do the 3 Symbols Dance, then that one into this, because the auto attack happened at the same time. Then we'll wait for the auto attack again at 100. See, I don't know how to like not burn energy sometimes with like the faster build. Do one more into this. Then I don't have my Nightblade up right now, so that into this. This one more. See, you burn sometimes. Oh, there's a 4 stack. That was a double hit. That was a Weapon Master proc right there. Yeah, double Shadow Strike right there. Oof. Again, and during your main cooldown would be a full bar. So, let's see if I can actually get that happen right now. Why not? Let's try it again. No, of course not. Of course not. Damn. But, you see what I mean? Like, there is definitely a flow to the faster playstyle. But it definitely feels like you burn combo points sometimes because of Weapon Master. But, you know, if they're free combo points, you're not burning anything exactly. But that's a faster build. There's another option we played with Gloomblade and Subterfuge and Alacrity. So this is also just a faster style build. So Gloomblade, it's easy. Subterfuge, because you want the extra 1 second in Shadow Dance to take advantage of the fact that you have the additional haste, I guess. I don't know. But the extra haste gives you the extra energy regeneration to do possibly more attacks in the Shadow Dance window, coupled with Master of Shadows. I don't know if, like, mathematically it may do nothing, because you have to actually stack up alacrity at least all the way up. Again, I don't have any Shadow Dance windows up right now because I'm live recording this, of course. One more. Ah, oh, miss. Damn. Offhand misses. Too bad. But, like, the overall build, like, both of these just feel fine. I don't know, alacrity just doesn't need... Again, an alacrity is going to scale your... let's do one of these. It's going to scale your Nightblade to do more damage because you are... Yeah! You're, of course, putting haste into it, right? We're at 29% haste right now. If that is any discernible real damage, then I'm, not sure, of course. Go into this. One more, two more. That one. There we go. One more. There we go. Oh, one more! Ah, see? That's the whole, like, subterfuge extra 1 second, because if you didn't notice that already, I went over this earlier, but just to reiterate, I don't think I did, actually. Shadow Dance lasts 5 seconds now. Bringing it up now works just fine, though. 5 seconds baseline. So 6 seconds with subterfuge. The reason why this happens, and we think the reason why that this was updated to be 5 seconds up from 4 seconds base, is because of the snapshot build. So, okay. So we'll take Find Weakness, Night Stalker, keep in DS. These don't matter. Dark Shadow, Death from Above. Now, the Sub-Rogue has a lot of multiplicative benefits. So we have Dark Shadow. When we're in Shadow Dance, you're doing 25% more damage. Night Stalker. When you're in Shadow Dance, you're doing 12% more damage. Or Stealth, right? This is Stealth or Shadow Dance, so that's why you can use Vanish for stuff like this with Night Stalker, and you can't with Dark Shadow. Find Weakness. After you use Shadow Strike, the target will take up to, depending on armor, 14% more damage. When we have Symbols of Death up, 15% more damage. When we have the target debuff with Nightblade, 15% more damage. Death from Above, it's an Eviscerate that deals 50% more damage than the base amount. Deeper Stratagem, 6 combo points. Finishers deal 5% more damage, all funneling into Executioner, your mastery. So that, this build very, very, very much about the more slow teeter-totter A, B rotation, where B is the whole Death from Above dance window. Now, on live right now, you are doing something like this. And again, don't worry about the rotation, just you're watching it in an example. You're doing this, right? So you are Death from Above. That's 6 if I can actually land an auto attack. And then you're spamming Shadow Dance. So you dance at the end and then you get 2 Shadow Strikes, right? Again, you can get 3 now because of the additional duration. That brings up the whole 5-second duration change, because with Find Weakness, you can stack that all into the window. However, you have to change how you do that. So let me get this up here. Let me go this. I'm just going to randomly build points here. We're going to Symbols. We're going to do this. You have to Shadow Strike, and then you can Death from Above. So then you get 1 GCD at the very end there if you wanted it. Death from Above has roughly a 2-second animation, and Shadow Striking before you Death from Above to apply the Find Weakness requires 1 GCD, right? So 1 second. And then by the landing time, if there's any latency in there, if Shadow Dance lasts 4 seconds, it would probably almost fall off before your DFA landed. 5 seconds now smooths that all out. The one weird kink in the cord there is, of course, that Symbols is on the GCD, so you have to, like, you may burn energy, you may burn a combo point or something like that, but build to 4 Symbols, Dance, and then DFA. Because, of course, you want to put Symbols and the Dance and the DFA window and the 6 combo points, all the stuff together, right? The highest crit I got during testing, I'm not going to sit here and keep trying over and over and over again. It took me like half an hour to do it on stream, like 20 minutes or something like that. So look at my HP right now, 15.3 thousand. Now, of course, we'll gain more HP when we level up. But it'll all be relatively the same, right? It'll be pretty linear. And damage will be rather linear, of course, around the whole thing, barring any Azerite traits and artifact power into your necklace or whatever. A fully stacked at level 110 Death from Above that I got earlier today hit for 16.7 thousand. That one-shots. And if the same scaling happens at level 120, that will still one-shot players, barring PvP balance. That's not including Prey on the Weak either. You could put another 10% in there because you could cheap shot when you actually do the Shadow Dance and then DFA, right? Because you can Shadow Strike them, or you Shadow Strike with a cheap shot and then you can dance on them because you're going to get 5 seconds now. You have an extra global. So that's not even with the extra 10%. That's with the other all multiplicatives before that I said, right? It's a whole lot. But if that still scales before, that may one-shot people, or just about one-shot player, which is hilarious, which I kind of think is okay. If you let a sub-rogue do all of that setup on you, you're dotted, it's not CC'd, it gets to build back up to 6 combo points and time everything else into that window. Not to mention the fact that you could add on your actual major cooldown in Shadow Blades, because then any other follow-up damage you're going to do is going to bypass armor because it's magic, right? So the sub-rogue is very, very bursty in this combination. So we'll do one more to show it off. So again, you want to build to 4, most likely. Build to 4, this, and then that. That will give you no find weakness. So that I did that wrong, right? You want to make sure you have the extra time they gave you, the Blizzard gave you that 1 extra second to put up find weakness. So if that is the case, I didn't even have, I didn't have my dot up anyway, so we'll redo that anyway. It's fine. So quite interesting if this is the case. Depends on numbers if like the faster builds are as good as the snapshotty build. Again, it's not a real snapshot, but it's a light snapshot essentially. So we'll do one more time here. So symbols into this, into that, into this. Whoa. There it actually is right there. Oof, that's 16.7K. Ooh, that's a huge number in BFA terms. That's a huge number. Just put like 3 zeros on the end of it for Battle for Azeroth numbers, like 160 million or whatever. That's wild. Well, it'd be like 16 million, I guess. But no, wouldn't it be 1.6? No, it'd be 16 million, right? Sub-rogue, 16 million damage, and yeah. But so these two builds work. I don't know if one of them is better than the other. It comes down to math. It comes down to wherever the hell your coming soon is. There's a new talent hiding in the shadows. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the sub-rogue, what you think of the symbols of death on the global, even though it kind of doesn't do a whole lot. Let me know what you think of this madness. One more time. Yo. Oh, 14.5. I didn't have my debuff up, but still. It's so chunky. And it's every other rotation, right? Because you'd build and you'd put up your dot, you'd build and you'd do DFA. So, but thank you very much for watching. Again, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Check out the video description box down below for the Twitch live stream or my socials, all down there. And I will see you all in the final rogue coming up next, the Assassination Rogue during the Battle for Azeroth beta, the first pass stuff. I got through sub rogue. I lived. Oh, I mean, I did okay, I think. Did I?